Hey guys, Greg here, Bone Tactical. This is the FX Panthera 30 caliber sent to me by Palm Beach Airguns. Top of the line airgun experts. It's a precision machine capable of dropping a hog at 100 yards. I've equipped it with the ATN Tico 6 thermal clip-on and a massive optic, a style of scope that's very much overkill but very popular in the airgun world. Here's the best part. In the eyes of the federal government, this is not a restricted item. No background check, no FFL, and no registration. According to 18 USC 921A3, because this uses compressed air and not an explosive charge, it is not legally a firearm. Today, I'm leveraging my extensive non-permissive environment experience to discuss whether or not this is the ultimate less restricted pathway for staying armed in an increasingly restricted world. I talk a lot on this channel about the difference between written law and practice law. Written law, the Constitution, says our right to bear arms shall not be infringed. It was written to keep government small and the people capable. But in practice law, we see that right being eroded every day, if it even still exists, which is debatable. Whether it's through administrative overreach or local restrictions, the system is failing to uphold the original intent. So, does the air rifle represent a way to legally express our right to be armed and dangerous when the Second Amendment isn't being enforced as it was written? To give a definitive answer, let me first explain this PCP air rifle's power and capabilities. So I don't bore you with the science, studies, and formulas behind the real-world effectiveness of ballistics as it pertains to air guns, here's the meat and potatoes. This 30 caliber slug is heavy and it is made of soft lead. In the PCP airgun world, there are various sizes and types of projectiles. Slugs, like this one, represent a really great midpoint. Some are bigger, some are smaller. There are also more traditional pellet style projectiles in the air rifle world. Some rifles can send the lead downrange faster than this one, others not quite as fast. The point here is that this setup is basically the perfect mid-range contender to show you a great balance of general capabilities that the modern big bore air rifle brings to the table. This rifle fires these 50-some odd grain slugs at around 1,000 FPS, nearly 3 times slower than a modern military M16A4, for example, which might fire a very similarly sized projectile at over 3,000 feet per second. The Panthera doesn't zip through a target like a high-velocity 5.56 NATO round. Instead, think of it more like a Civil War musket. In the Civil War, those slow-moving, heavy projectiles were notoriously more devastating to organic tissue than many modern rifle rounds because they often dump almost all of their energy into the target, expand massively, and cause huge wound channels. If you're hunting or defending a position, this provides a thump that most people don't realize an air gun can deliver. If you want this effect though, you'll want to try and find the largest caliber, biggest bore, and the heaviest projectiles that you can find. This, as I mentioned, is a mid-range. It is still, however, highly capable in certain circumstances. One of the biggest advantages here in this particular package is stealth. On this setup, I'm using what we call a moderator. It's effectively a suppressor for an airgun, but because it's not a firearm, it's not an NFA regulated item. No $200 tax stamp and no 9-month waiting period. It makes this platform much quieter than a standard firearm. You don't have the explosion, you don't have the muzzle flash. This makes it quite effective for stealth hunting, especially when paired with the Tico 6 thermal for low light use. Now, I have to give you the nitty-gritty truth. This is what most people won't tell you about air guns. This is not a Glock. You can't throw it in a bug-out bag, forget about it for 6 months, and expect it to work when you pull it out to use it. Air guns are finicky. They take a lot more time to load. Air must be charged potentially using a compressor like this one. Ammunition is loaded into these chintzy plastic magazines. The components are just not robust. They can't take a beating. They feature a plethora of bells, knobs, whistles, set screws, O-rings, and moving parts, which many require adjustment or caution not to knock out of adjustment. Across the board, their seals often leak. They generally require constant attention to detail. This Panthera runs on 3,600 PSI. That's a massive amount of air. To stay self-reliant, you need a way to fill it. I'm using a compressor from Palm Beach Airguns that you can see here, because if you don't have your own air source, you don't have a functioning weapon. With an air rifle, you have to be proactive. You have to top it off regularly if it's leaking. If you aren't willing to do the maintenance, this is not the tool for you. Speaking of maintenance, I have this really cool Deluxe Elite gun cleaning kit from Glory Fire. It's my current favorite go-to gun cleaning kit. There's just about all the tools you might need in here to clean and maintain your guns. And it comes in a really nice plastic ammo can style box with a long gun stand inside as well. Of course, all of the stuff that I can will be linked in the description below. Let's keep going. This is not a new thing. Air rifles have been being used for hunting and self-defense for a very long time. In fact, Lewis and Clark used an air rifle in their expedition in the early 1800s. I don't know why the engineering and tech on these is so far behind, but it is. You may have seen some of my other air rifle videos here on the channel, and I pretty much always talk about how much they can be improved. I reviewed the Air Force Texan, which was plagued with engineering and design flaws. Thankfully, Air Force heeded my advice, and after my reviews, updated their designs at least a little bit to correct some of the flaws I pointed out in those videos. I also reviewed the Umarex Gauntlet, which leaks air and is so heavy it's a bear to carry around. But welcome to the next level, young man. This is FX. Let me start by saying that FX is indeed one of the best in the business. However, they still need a lot of improvement. On the Panthera, the action is sloppy, the magazine design is terrible, and the rail system is poorly thought out at best. They designed this rifle with a magazine that sticks straight up around 15 millimeters above the action, which is crazy. Look how high this thing sticks up above the Picatinny rail on top of the action. This is where the scope needs to be mounted. This massive oversight alone causes the rifle to be incompatible with like 90% of the optics on the market. It unnecessarily raises the height over bore, and it's just poorly thought out. Are you telling me, FX, that you built an air rifle and didn't even think that somebody might want to put an optic on it? A common complaint that many users have with this rifle is the lack of balance. Wasn't a major issue for me personally, but people say that it's butt heavy. They could have easily mounted the air cylinder under the barrel on the front end, added a side folding stock, and effectively created an airgun light years ahead of the competition. So much easy engineering work could be done to improve modern airgun designs in general. It blows my mind. Every time I get one in to review, I'm saddened by the unachieved potential, but I digress. I must review this rifle and modern airguns as they are, not as they should be. So let's talk real world. Guys, don't tune out yet. This is what you guys are here for. Can you use this for a truck gun or home defense? And the answer to any question is always, it depends on the context. So, for an airgun to work for real-world self-defense, the conditions are strict. For a truck gun, it's high maintenance. Not a custom high-carbon steel handmade knife high maintenance either. No, this is Miss Switzerland pageant queen high maintenance. This is constant attention to detail, throwing money at it, dedicating your life to it, and it still doesn't always do what you want it to. You can't just toss it behind the seat. It needs to be in a case because it's more fragile than a powder burner. And the case isn't so easy to find either. Most models that have the power you want are huge. They're just very long. So we're talking extra large custom cases. If you want to rely on it, you'd have to check the gauge every time you get in your vehicle. If there's a slow leak, which most air rifles get eventually, in my opinion, you'll have to top it off regularly, or it's dead weight when you need it. I guess you could use it as a club if it doesn't have air. For home defense, your strategy has to change completely. You are not clearing rooms with this. Now, if you want to live to tell the tale of a home invasion and an air gun is your option or what you're thinking, this is kind of, like I said, the top tier. This is many thousands of dollars and it's professionally set up and it's a really sweet setup. But still, it's set up for a very particular use case. This is simply not a reactionary tool. It's too cumbersome and time consuming to use this effectively. You need a preset plan, a previously prepared defensible position, somewhere with cover and concealment, and you let the threat come to you, using the thermal advantage and the silence to defend your space on your terms. The reality is that it's better utilized as an offensive or proactive tool rather than a truly defensive one. And just like the truck setup, you'd need a daily routine to be able to rely on it, even for home defense, checking the pressure, topping it off as needed, verifying that it's actually ready, at least weekly. Now, before you go out and build this, remember, I am talking about federal law. Practically speaking, in most of the US, an adult can buy and possess an air rifle like this without going through the federal firearm purchase process. But state and local rules can still impose purchase or possession restrictions, age limits, or transport rules. Some states, like New Jersey and Rhode Island, have decided to classify high-powered air guns as firearms anyway. In those states, the less restricted pathways closed. And don't confuse not a firearm with allowed everywhere. A lot of places regulate what they consider dangerous weapons broadly, regardless of whether they're firearms or not. Also, in certain national parks, believe it or not, the laws are more restrictive for air guns than they are for handguns. Always check the practiced law as I teach it on my channel here in your specific area, the written law and what's actually enforced by police officers. An interesting side note is that of international law and air guns. I've actually legally sent air guns overseas so that I could go on hunting trips that otherwise would have been impossible for an American with a firearm, clearing customs in countries where rifles are illegal. I'll try and link a video of that trip here. If I remember to do it when I upload this video, it'll be up top somewhere, a little link that you can click. The world is changing, and the rules are being rewritten every single day. Being a free American means finding ways to stay capable regardless of what the bureaucracy says. This FX Panthera can be a precision tool for a self-reliant man. A huge thanks to Palm Beach Airguns for setting me up with this rifle and compressor. If you want to take control of your own ballistic solutions, that's where I'd start. PalmBeachAirguns.com. Also, I'm considering selling this setup. I'm not sure yet, but if I do decide to sell it, check all of the links in the description below. I'll put a link for this purchase. This is a really cool air rifle. I really do believe that FX is on the top of their game. I think it might just not be for me. If it's for you, that's great. I hope this video helps you really define and understand the world of modern air rifles as it is currently. Stay dangerous, stay free, bone out.